Hey guys, I'm Mono, and the Legends update is finally here. So I thought I'd take a look at the different techniques. I've already seen them, of course, and go over them, talk a little bit about what they mean in terms of builds for each of the different classes, and then go over the Rivals mode. There's a couple of interesting things about the Rivals mode, so let's get down to it. Alright, going over the techniques first. Let's look at the Samurai. Now we have this Raging Flame ability, which will light the sword on fire, and heavy attacks will spread fire to nearby enemies. So this is going to be awesome for those Samurai fire builds, maybe together with the Caltrops or whatever you call them, the Demon Seeds legendary, Way of the Flame, all of that. If you gear your Samurai towards fire damage, this should be very cool. However, you do lose your ability to heal with this one, but more on that in just a bit. Now, every single class now has a second one of these, increase the number of legendary items that you can equip by 1. So you can potentially have 3 legendary equipped if you do this, which is going to be quite interesting, though I don't think, that's going to be as useful in most situations. The other perk that is new for the Samurai is this Healing Strike, where killing an enemy with a perfect parry counterattack restores 50 health. So that's a quite significant chunk of health that you can restore at once by doing a perfect parry. So if you're, again, gearing a build towards this can be quite effective, I think. However, what I do find interesting is that this comes at the expense of something like critical defense, which increases the parry and dodge window when at low health. It would be cool to get these in separate rows here to be able to use them both at the same time. There's something similar going on with the Assassin that I don't like. I think the update in general favors the Samurai and Ronin more than all the other classes, like the Hunter and the Assassin, but we'll see that in a bit. Alright, and the last one is Hachiman's Rage, where Hachiman's Fury does 2 strikes, so not 3 strikes, but they are for 300 damage each, 300% damage. So, obviously, that's going to be a big waste if you target Hachiman to, at weaker enemies, where you would be able to kill them anyway with one swing. But for Onis, this is going to be crazy. So, I wonder if, maybe doing a Resolve build for the Samurai and pairing it with this, you would get Hachiman, fairly often and be able to basically delete any of the tougher enemies in 1 or 2 strikes. So that's going to be quite interesting. Moving on, we have the Hunter, and this is the new class ability. It is called Spirit Archer. Summon a ghostly archer to fight beside you for a limited time. And honestly, I don't see anyone picking this over the Explosive Arrow. Just like the Staggering Arrow that stuns enemies, like I don't think, the Explosive Arrow is clearly, I think, the best choice here, together with a fire build. So this Summon Ghostly Archer, I guess it will depend on what amount of your own equipment, gets transferred to that Ghostly Archer. So let's say he seems to be shooting fire arrows, or she seems to be shooting fire arrows all the time. But we do see her miss quite a few shots in this little video preview. So that's going to be quite annoying if that happens very often. And it doesn't seem to be doing a lot of damage. So yeah, this doesn't seem like a great ability for the Archer. Moving on, again, the legendary increase items thing. And perk 2 is Bow and Blade. So killing an enemy with an arrow makes your next sword attack deal 100% more damage. It's an interesting concept of being able, maybe having a Hunter that can switch, constantly between melee and damage. Maybe you don't want to use something like the Skipping Stone on this one because of the draw speed on longbows. Maybe you want a faster bow on this one. So yeah, we'll see if this is useful at all. And the last one is the ult will set people on fire as well. So this can actually be quite helpful if you're targeting, the tougher enemies. So again, hopefully this with the fire build turns out to be pretty good. Moving up, we have the Ronin, and oh my god, the Ronin abilities sound pretty cool. First, we have this class ability, Flaming Roar, which unleashes a ball of fire and ignites surrounding enemy. It's on a 42-second cooldown. So yeah, this seems, again, with a fire build, maybe with the ult as well, fire and, you know, black powder bombs and all of that, it seems like it would be a really interesting thing to have. Obviously, you do lose your healing, but check this out. Perk number 2, Cure All. Anytime the Ronin is healed, his teammate will receive 50% as well. So that's really, really cool, because you can use something like the bomb pack, or, you know, the healing sticky bomb or something like that, to get a bit more use out of this if you're running, you know, the other one, the new ability. So yeah, that seems like a very interesting perk for the Ronin. And lastly, we have Breath of Izanami creates a massive shockwave that knocks back all enemies and weakens them. This could be useful in something like, you know, maybe some of the maps, to knock them off, like into a void or something, maybe on the raid and stuff like that. I think this can have some use, but I do think the other ones, like the Fire Breath and Soothing Breath, are probably both better than this one. I don't know. We'll have to see how much damage. It seems to do quite a bit of damage, so, you know, it seems like it can be really useful. Lastly, we have the Assassin, and I don't think any of the Assassin abilities are pretty good. I wish they had added the Assassination Chain or something like that. So here we have class ability Refreshing Vanish. This will heal enemies, sorry, it will heal you and nearby allies by quite a significant chunk. It seems to be like something like 50 heal, 50 HP or something. It will heal you and nearby allies when you go invisible, so, you know, it's okay, I guess. Again, the legendary equipment thing. Then we have perk 2, Deadly Nightshade. Poison also damages enemies' health, and I do have a problem with this perk. So this is using the blowgun, and I just don't see any reason to use the blowgun over the bombs if you can. I don't, like, the bombs deal so much more damage and they help you build your resolve so much faster that I just don't think this is gonna be, you know, quite very useful. It does seem to deal quite a significant amount of damage, but that's, you know, in the video we only see the weaker enemies getting destroyed by this. So yeah, we'll have to see how much damage this actually does to Oni. I'll have to test that. And then we have Overshadowed, where Shadow Strike attacks do 100% extra damage. So, you know, if the base Shadow Strike deals 3 attacks at base damage each, this does, you know, it does basically twice. So it's kind of better than having the 5, this one, the Shadow Storm, where you gain 2 extra strikes, because that's like 500% damage. This is like 600% damage, right? So in terms of raw damage output, this is better. But again, if you use this, just like the Samurai one, if you use this to kill weaker enemies, then you're going to be over damaging them, and you're going to be losing some of that potential damage. Yeah, so you want to use this against Oni. This, I think, can be quite interesting. I'm not sold on Deadly Nightshade, but yeah. And then we have the whole gear mastery system to take a look at. So I've already activated a couple of these, and the way you do this is you re-roll a 110 level item, and that will get you a mastery challenge. And there's quite a variety of different ones. So let's see, for example, use your ultimate ability here. There's Purify Cursed Objects, which cursed objects are new gear that's been added to the game. I think I have one, let me check. Yeah, I have one right here, a Cursed Bomb Pack. So this, if you equip it, you get less melee damage stagger, less status effect duration, and a really interesting Curse of Eo's Insult. Whenever you take damage, Eo will taunt you. So that's gonna be hilarious, I think. I'll have to do that. Yeah, definitely have to equip this with the Ronin and give it a go. So obviously when you complete this, the challenge associated with that, that's gonna lift the curse. And I'm not sure, like, hopefully these items will be better than base items or something. I'm not sure about that. We'll see. And now let's get into the whole Rivals mode, because this is quite interesting. It's a really fun mode. Each map has a different geometry to it. Some maps are kind of static, other maps you kind of progress through them. I haven't played them all yet. And also the curses that are available are different. So let me explain what I mean by that. Each map, you kill enemies, you collect Magatama, this currency, and you cash in those for curses. As you do that, you progress through basically the bar that's at the top of the screen. You get more and more and more, and then you trigger a final phase, which is very similar to survival, where you have to defend like a circle and enemies keep pouring in. So the interesting thing is each map has its specific set of curses. So I think there's going to be like a different meta for each map because, you know, some curses are clearly powerful, more powerful than others. For example, there's a curse where you get a drain health, or you summon an elder, basically a boss Oni, that prevents the other team from using their Magatama, from cashing them in the like shrine things, right? So I think the timing of when you use each of the different things that you have at your disposal is going to be really interesting. You can also, there's these cages that have like trapped Onis, and if you free them, they will essentially invade the other team, it seems. So that again, like when you release those, you know, when you do the curses, like that's gonna be really interesting, I think, in terms of devising a strategy together with your teammate to be able to basically, you know, gain as much of an advantage over the enemy as humanly possible, right? I'm not sure if we're gonna see rival-specific builds because it just seems, you know, the faster you can kill, the better, and that's kind of the same for survival mode. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna see much of that, but I think the use of the shrines and the whole curse mechanic, that's gonna be the key to victory here. And there are also cursed chests, which will net you more rewards, but they are also a great way to get a lot of Magatama fast because they will spawn a bunch of enemies, right? So again, when do you use that? Do you use that to get an early good start and cash, you know, curse your enemy earlier on? Or do you cash in as frequently as possible? Or do you just save up and cash the best curse as often as possible? You know, that's, I think, the strategy in regards to the Rivals mode is going to be really interesting. Alright guys, that's going to be it for now. Hopefully you guys liked this video and find it useful. And if you did, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the future build potential of each of the classes. And as always, thank you for watching, and I hope I will catch you in the next one.